there. And we're seeing them all around us.
Listen.
Where are you?
Help.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning into AmysCrypt. I'm really excited because this is my big finale to my October long Haunted Romania series, and I've saved the best till last. Overnight in the world's most haunted forest, Hoia Baciu. Alright, so we're pretty close to the forest. We just got dropped off down a little dirt road by our taxi driver, who told me that he is scared of the forest and will not take us any closer to it. So he kind of kicked us out with all our bags and that and told us to walk. So we know where it is, we can see it, and we're going to head towards it and hopefully see some weird stuff. Alright, we're getting further and further away from civilization, which is good. And yeah, we're pretty close to the edge of the forest now. So already Jared's GPS on his phone, which is what we're kind of relying on in the forest, has stopped working. So we're just going to walk blindly into the forest and hope that we can figure out a bit later where exactly we're headed. But this is really exciting for me. This is a place I've always wanted to come. This forest is very well known for having vast amounts of paranormal activity and unexplained phenomena happening. So it's really exciting here, and I cannot wait to share some of these spooky stories with you all. So we're lost already. We are trying to find a specific part of the forest known as the dead zone, which we know where it is on GPS, but since that's not working, we're just kind of going blindly. I've chosen this direction because it looks the spookiest, and I noticed an arrow on a tree that was pointing this way, so I don't know, we're just kind of winging it here. Okay, so the first of the unexplained phenomena to happen within Hoia Baciu forest is strange growing vegetation. So the most prevalent thing is trees growing bent, unnaturally bent, or even in spirals. And I've been looking out for it, and I'm really excited because we just found our first bendy tree. So this one right here, I've seen pictures and there's far more extreme cases. So we're looking out for more, and definitely expecting to find more along the way, but this is kind of how they grow, and science cannot explain it. Apparently they don't know why they grow in that fashion. There's also some really cool ones over here. Now I'm looking that look like they're long skinny trees that look like they're growing right up and over in an arch. And then there's a lot of strange activity on the bark of the trees where they look charred and burnt for no reason. So we're going to be looking out for that soon, but there's something really cool and interesting about the forest. So Jared's run off ahead, and I know he's nervous because we really want to find a special spot which is known as the dead zone before sundown. That's where we want to make camp, and he's getting a little bit stressed about not finding it. Okay, I'm absolutely shattered. We've been walking for ages trying. Oh, I could really go some of these berries right now, but maybe I won't.
You might die.
Yeah. I don't think this forest needs any more ghosts.
What is that?
Don't know. It's a little hut. That looks pretty cool.
That's some Blair Witch shit right there.
Alright guys, I think that we found what we are looking for. We're looking for a massive clearing in the forest where no trees, no vegetation or anything grows. It almost forms a perfect circle and no one quite knows why it exists or why it is just in the middle of the forest. It's supposed to be a hub for paranormal activity and a lot of locals believe that that is where the ghosts of Hoia Baciu forest live. There's also been a lot of UFO sightings there, which is very interesting, very cool. Light anomalies, lights coming through the trees within the forest at night. A lot of unexplainable things happen here and I can just see just a break in the forest up ahead. I can see grass and sunlight and we're heading towards it, so let's go check it out. I think we found it. Alright guys, this is so odd. I mean I've seen it on a lot of TV shows, a lot of paranormal programs have been here, Destination Truth, Ghost Adventures, and I actually thought it would be bigger. It is very odd though. If you kind of look around at the edge, the forest just sort of stops all of a sudden and then there's just this big field. So we're currently standing in the dead zone or the clearing of Hoia Baciu forest, and I thought this was a good area to tell some of the ghost stories of the forest, which is thought to be very haunted. A lot of people have claimed to sight ghostly apparitions all throughout the forest. Some people have even picked these up in photographs. So a lot of faces have been caught in photos that weren't visible at the time to the human eye. People have seen shadow figures and outlines of humanoid figures all throughout the forest and even in this clearing that I'm standing in right now. So I'm just going to go for a walk around the dead zone. I don't understand why it's here and why it exists. Apparently soil samples have been taken and there's no scientific explanation for why nothing grows here. The soil here is supposed to be no different to the soil in the forest behind me. There has been a lot of UFO sightings here, so they date back to the 60s and 70s, and they've even been captured quite a lot in photographs. So rods, flying saucers and lights. Orbs, light anomalies and strange figures are very common to be sighted in this area, and that is why we've decided to camp here. So a lot of people have reported when they're camping here in the clearing at night when it is dark and pitch black, they've seen lights piercing through the trees in the forest, and I'd really love to capture something like that. Now another thing about this forest is it's said that people have suffered a lot of physiological effects upon entering. So there's been a lot of people that have suddenly became anxious or nervous. A lot of people have also suddenly become ill, migraines, headaches, nausea, vomiting, and then they've even reported to being attacked, so getting pushed, scratched, burnt, or even developing rashes during their time here. This place is actually nicknamed the Bermuda Triangle of Romania because people fear that if you enter, you may never exit the forest. And there's a lot of legends and stories that talk of people that has happened to. Some believe that the forest contains a portal to another dimension. And there's a lot of stories of people entering the forest, disappearing for years on end, and then turning up many years later with no recollection of where they've been, what has happened, wearing the same clothing. And in fact, the most famous of all of those stories concerns a young 5-year-old girl. She entered the forest one day, never came back out for 5 years. 5 years later, she turns up in the exact same clothes that she was wearing when she went missing. She doesn't know what happened. She has no recollection of those 5 years. They said that she's one of the lucky ones because supposedly a lot of people who have gone missing have been found dead years later and no signs of trauma or anything on their body. So it's quite a mysterious place for that. I did warn my family that I was spending the night here before I entered, and hopefully you guys get to see this video by Halloween and I'm not missing for years. The legend of how Hoia Baciu Forest got its name is quite an interesting and spooky one. It's told that a shepherd with 200 sheep in his flock entered the forest one day and never returned. And ever since then, the forest was named after him, and that's been what it has been referred to since. No one ever heard or seen from him or any of his sheep again. They all just went missing. I think Jared's getting worried about me. I'm gonna head back and try and find him. He's been trying to collect firewood. I've just been exploring. Now, because of all the stories about this place and people getting lost within the forest, I was a bit worried. And it kind of reminded me a lot of the Blair Witch. So I don't know if I'm gonna have my own Blair Witch project tonight, but I did wear my Blair Witch pin.
It sounds like the Blair Witch Project when they hear stones banging in the distance. Weird noise coming from the trees. Oh, it's Amy, there she is, dragging some wood. That actually scared me for a second. How was it?
Huh? I'm just finding trapped wood.
I haven't told Amy because she's not here. She's exploring and collecting wood, but I'm getting a rash on my arm. Check it out. You see that? I don't think it's paranormal though. I think it's just the wood that I've been collecting scratching me, but...
And then they've even reported to being attacked, so getting pushed, scratched, burnt, or even developing rashes during their time here.
Amy? Amy, is that you? I can hear people walking through the forest.
Alright, I've been collecting wood for what feels like ages and we can only find scrappy bits. It is going to get quite cold tonight. It's going to be about 0. Hoping we have enough, but we don't actually know. I reckon we can burn through this real quick though. There's no substantial logs here at all. So, we don't know whether to quit or just keep going or what, but yeah, I don't know. There are many ghosts thought to roam the Hoia Baciu forest, and a lot of people have hypothesized that these ghosts are Romanian peasants that were murdered in the area, and they're very disgruntled, they were tormented, and now they are trapped in the forest. And there has been so many sightings of ghostly apparitions, shadow people, and that is actually incredible how many there have been. It'd be very interesting later tonight. We're going to do a lot of investigating and see if we are able to pick anything up.
I think we collected wood for about 3 hours.
No way.
Yes way. What time is it now?
Like 5-ish.
We got here about 2:30.
Yeah, and then we walked here.
At least 2 hours.
Okay then.
I'm actually a bit f***ing dizzy.
Is that paranormal?
No, I think I'm just f***ing carrying that wood.
A lot of people have also suddenly become ill. Migraines, headaches, nausea, vomiting. Here he comes. Looks like he found something worth burning. How you doing?
Good.
Pants staying up?
No. It's so awkward to hold. To hold, to hold, to hold. There's a deer. It's a wild deer. I can't get any closer, I don't think.
We're starting to hear our first bump in the night. Voices, giggles, screams are reported to be very common coming out of the forest. Oh my Morty!
Amy's now also planning to see a light, and we're seeing them all around us.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like, comment, and make sure to subscribe. I have my part 2 dropping on Halloween. It's going to be a really big night. We are just about ready to spend the night in the world's most haunted forest. The sun is going down. Make sure not to miss it. This is AmysCrypt. Until next time, stay spooky.